I really want to put Michael up. I would backdoor the fuck out of Michael, that's for sure.
That was a HOH Daniel, who might be a super fan and does seem to have seen every season. But apparently he said he's going to do what other outsiders always do on their HOH and get out another outsider possibly. But we will come back to breaking down Daniel's HOH today here in a while. First we need to talk about Paloma. Paloma continues to try to play the worst game in the house. Every season now it seems like I'm wondering, can anyone top the bad gameplay from last season? And last season it was probably Frenchie that had the worst gameplay. He was HOH and making a bunch of alliances, a bunch of slaughterhouse alliances. This season that person is Paloma. Paloma's doing very similar stuff that Frenchie did last season, making multiple different alliances with some of the same people in these alliances. The biggest difference here is at least Frenchie has the excuse that he was HOH and had to make all these decisions, and he's the first HOH and the power went to his head. Paloma is literally at the bottom this week because she can't vote right now and she can't play veto because of the twist. So Paloma thinks she's running the house without having any actual power, and what she did today is pretty hilarious actually. So yesterday I talked about how this alliance was made between Pooch, Paloma, Alyssa, Amira, Monty, and Kyle. 3 women, 3 guys. But today Paloma decided she was going to replace Pooch without telling anyone. So Paloma replaced Pooch in the alliance with Michael. So Michael finds himself in an alliance without doing any work because he's been so socially awkward. However, I think it's very strange that she did this before actually telling anyone. Now she went on to tell Alyssa and Amira and Monty after the fact, but I have to wonder if that's in the back of anyone's head, because it's a pretty weird thing to do, and I have to wonder, Pooch is still going to think that's still one of his many alliances. So it was just a very strange thing from Paloma, and the strangest part is her just telling Michael, hey, you're in this alliance now, here's who's in it.
These are the people. It's you, me. Okay, these are the guys, 3 girls. You, Monty, and Kyle. And then for the girls, it's me, Amira.
I think this is the biggest head scratcher by Paloma, because Michael now has this information that this already could be an alliance. So we'll have to see what Michael does with that information, because I think he is the biggest one that could blow that situation up. He needs to start talking more in order to do that. But I think Pooch is already in so many alliances, he might forget who's in which alliance, honestly. But let's talk about Daniel's HOH. Daniel was taking the wait-and-see approach, but I feel like he played it all wrong. I think when you're doing the wait-and-see approach, you need to gather information as HOH to wait and see what you're going to do after you get all that information. But for whatever reason, Daniel decided to do this ass backwards. First of all, he's HOH and he didn't make any other alliances of his own. Yesterday, he's close to Nicole. That's the biggest thing. He has Nicole, but he didn't really go out and make a big alliance, which I'm grateful for. I don't need to see no big dominant alliance. But the only thing he did is he had the Pooch, and then Turner comes in, and then they get this little 3-way alliance kind of out of nowhere. That's Daniel's only real alliance of substance right now. But he was waiting to see who would come and talk to him and take initiative. Like he's fucking managing a goddamn Sears store and wants to see who has the initiative to move up in this company. It's an odd approach as HOH to me, especially for a guy that in his pregame said He's waited way too long to get on the show. He is a man that has applied for Big Brother a decade straight, and he said he's going to come in this and play his own game and dictate his own game, and yet he's letting alliances be dictated for him. Especially when it comes to the usual thing that outsiders do, like Daniel. He's letting the bros kind of talk him into, yeah, we're going to keep him safe. Now, I think Daniel realizes that eventually the bros need to go, and maybe he could keep them around as a shield for now. That is his plan. But 90% of the time, if not more, that plan has gone wrong for players like Daniel keeping bros around. And there's more bros this season than usual, honestly. Because Monty, Kyle bro out, Kyle Pooch bro out, and Daniel wants to reclaim his youth. Now, I titled this that Paloma's brain is as fried as Daniel's hair, and I thought I was going to make that statement about Daniel. I possibly could, the way his HOH is going, but I think more so, and I said this in the comments of the cast assessment, I feel like Daniel has this hairstyle because he's trying to be young. Daniel's around my age, he's a few years older, but he has that hair to try and look young. The hair that was in the NSYNC years, 20 years ago. That's the hair Daniel's going for because he thinks he's keeping him youthful. And I think that is a character flaw in Daniel I'm starting to see with him trying to get down with the bros, despite him being a decade or more older than all of them. It's probably not going to work. And so what really worries me about this HOH from Daniel is him wanting to and then nominating Terrence. I talked about this yesterday, how Daniel nominating one of the other old players in the game is the most illogical choice for him, because if one of those players goes, I do think it cuts the knees out from under his game and makes his game a whole lot harder now. Now, Daniel is close to Nicole. I just don't know why they don't gather around Terrence, who is the other old player, the oldest player. I think Nicole has tried. I don't think Daniel has. Now, Terrence hasn't made the initiative to talk game because he's feeling like he doesn't fit in, which bothers me even more because Daniel should see, as HOH, Daniel's the HOH, and he struggled for 2 days to have people come and talk to him. And maybe that's a power dynamic at play, but either way, you would think that if Daniel is having a good read at this game, he would understand that maybe he isn't making these connections that other players downstairs are making, and maybe he also isn't fitting in that well. But instead of Daniel trying to gather all of these players he could possibly see as outsiders, instead he nominated one, and now he's letting other people dictate his alliances that as HOH he's at the bottom of. So Daniel coming into this strategically, I don't think he's doing a very good job at all. He's fumbling, to say the least. And if Terrence, the oldest player, goes home, the oldest black player goes home, once again, Big Brother is going to feel like a rerun like most seasons because, gosh, we haven't seen the oldest player go home 20 fucking times, but we have. I think Nicole's doing a good job trying to steer Daniel in different directions. Daniel's really trusting Paloma, who is making all these different alliances. I don't understand the dynamics between Daniel and Paloma at all. I don't understand why Daniel trusts Paloma. I could understand why he trusts Amira because Amira is doing a really good job talking to people. Nicole did a good job of getting, I guess, Daniel off of Taylor's back when there was a point that Daniel was thinking about nominating her. Daniel also having some microaggressions, saying if he does nominate her, she's gonna be loud and over the top or whatever. Nicole played into those microaggressions smartly as another person of color, saying, oh yeah, that's what's going to happen. I think striking some fear into Daniel to nominate her. So unfortunately, that's what black players have to do in this game, is use those microaggressions to cause fear for the whites. But to make Daniel's HOH kind of going worse, and I do think he's going to be saved by the twist. At least that's what the way it kind of seems. Daniel is also nominating Michael along with Terrence, one of the other people that is an outsider. So if the twist doesn't get somebody else on the block, or if Vito doesn't get somebody else on the block, Daniel is going to be sending home somebody he probably should be working with, because any alliance that has been dictated for him, he's at the bottom of. Other than maybe the Pooch and Turner alliance, but I don't really know how real that is to Pooch. I do think it's real to Turner, but who knows about Turner? It's real to Turner for now because Daniel's in power. So I just think Daniel did a bad job of nominating. It's also just very safe nominations. And this is something the show's kind of brought upon itself. Production's brought upon itself. We see first HOHs. If you go back and watch since season 16, this is the first HOHs. Go back and watch if you don't believe me. Either the person that wins HOH is one of production's favorites, and production will do all that they can to help that first HOH, or the opposite happens where a twist screws that first HOH pretty hardcore. So, I mean, maybe Daniel playing it safe will be okay because of the twist this season. Maybe would screw him otherwise. But if that's not the case, then Daniel screwed Daniel. But I'm tired of people playing this safe. Yeah, you're the first HOH. You don't want to play too hard, too fast. And yes, I get it. It's a very fine line between doing way too much and getting Frenchied, but also maybe trying to get a bigger target until always waiting till later, and then that bigger target or plenty of bigger targets outlast you because they're in a bros alliance. Let's talk about some of the other players real quick. We'll start with Taylor. I do think Taylor is on to some of the women not liking her. She was walking away from a conversation with Paloma and Jasmine last night. Made some eyes at the camera saying, yeah, she's kind of feeling some kind of way about those two.
I'll be back.
So I think Taylor's starting to maybe get her head more in the game, understanding that some of these women don't like her and are probably jealous of her. And somebody in the comments is trying to argue with me that they're not jealous of Taylor. I don't understand this. It's Rams and Dodgers fan saying, Taylor's not a target because of jealousy. Go watch her intro tape. She talked about lying, about how she bosses around her rich clients. All the cast members got the vibe from her that she's going to come in and lie, I guess, and it was just a good read. But Taylor's done no lying. Taylor's done none of that. And I tried to explain that, making these assumptions in the first few minutes of the game, because again, this was like 8 to 10 hours into the game when all the women were talking shit about Taylor out of jealousy because of assumptions about her. So I don't know. I still think there's a lot of jealousy.
She literally fat walks everywhere she goes. Like yesterday, she was in the storage room. She's let's run it back. This is literally the casual. It's like a bent over back thing too.
Jealousy. Shorty Paloma is sad that she doesn't have long, nice legs like Taylor. But don't worry, you're still attractive, even if from some angles you look like Giannis Pappas. For the record, I do like Paloma, though. I don't dislike her. I feel like she's bringing, enough cracked energy to keep things entertaining. Yeah, there's a lot of obsession going on about Taylor, but I'm glad she's starting to see some of that within the women. She also finally talked to Daniel today. They made a small bridge to them possibly working together in the future. Daniel should know that Taylor is also kind of an outsider because women like Jasmine and Paloma and even Amira keep talking about how they don't connect with Taylor. Taylor should be a tool for Daniel if he would take his head out of his ass and actually start playing his own game. Jasmine's pathetic. I think Jasmine's pathetic. She's here to talk shit and have a bunch of insecurities. That's what we're going to get out of Jasmine for now. Alyssa's not doing much. She's in all these alliances with Paloma. She's letting Paloma dictate alliances for her. The twist is looking like it could really screw one of these two. I think it would be more entertaining if it screwed Alyssa and kept Paloma around, but I don't see that happening. If it's going to screw one of them, it's probably going to be Paloma. Kyle, let's check in on Kyle. Kyle's here to play. He's here to blow bro down, but he's getting a little distracted like I talked about yesterday with his love for Brazilian women.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. You are the nicest person I have never ever met, and you're so beautiful and sweet and kind. Julie, give her the money. All of these people, hey, all of these people. See ya. See ya.
Yes, Kyle does love him some Brazilian women, and he's starting up with Indy. I think, I could swear Indy said she had a boyfriend, though, so I don't know if Kyle's going to get anywhere with Indy. Brittany, I've come around to really liking Brittany. It could be 2 seasons back-to-back where my pregame assumptions for the commenters, my pregame assumptions 2 seasons in a row are that the Britneys were going to annoy me because they're so loud and over the top. And then last season I ended up liking Brittany for the most part. She was still annoying, but I liked her. And now I think I'm going to like this Brittany, at least for now. I think she doesn't like that the other women continue to talk shit about Taylor constantly. And I think she has that connection with Turner. Brittany's head is in the game. She could be screwed by the twist this week. Technically, I don't think she will be, but it is possible. Monty's doing well. I think he is really the second coming of Xavier, or at least trying his best to be. That is what Monty, that's the game Monty wants to play. Play it safe, have a good alliance, don't cause drama. I think he talks a little more than Xavier did, especially since we're early in the game. So I don't know if he's going to be able to stay this cool guy under the radar. And I don't know if he's going to be able to stay under the radar as well as Xavier did, because Xavier had an entire cookout alliance to, hide behind. So Monty has more work to do than Xavier, but so far so good. Turner's very interesting still. I think Turner he's developing this connection with Pooch, but Pooch is similar to Paloma. He made a lot of alliances yesterday, like I talked about last night, and I think Turner could use Pooch as a shield, and I think he will use Pooch as a shield. I think that's good for Turner's game for now. I don't know how real his relationship with Daniel is, or if I don't know. The way Turner was brought up by his sister online before the show makes me think Turner is a scammer and good at manipulation. So I can already see the wheels turning in Turner's head. The wheels are turnering. And I think he's going to possibly do a lot of manipulating there. And, he could be good at using people, but we'll see what comes of that. Amira is continuing to do well. I think Amira is like... I wish he wasn't a hater in the girls thing, talking all that shit over Taylor or whatever and all the jealousy, because other than that, her head is in the game. The jealousy part makes me think Amira has that emotional possible player in the future side to her. But Amira kind of is the reason Michael's on the block. She's been pushing that Have Not Room alliance, even though Michael isn't really in that alliance with the other bros. And even though now Amira's supposed to be in that alliance with Michael because Paloma switched out Pooch for Michael, Amira has a good relationship with Daniel. I think Amira's very good at one-on-one talks. That is her strength so far. And lastly, we'll talk about Terrence and Michael. They are on the block. I think they have a good shot of being saved from the twist, and there's also the veto. I think Terrence needs to talk more game, try to fit in at least. The same goes for Michael. I'm hoping, Michael has a lot more information now because of Paloma, and he's supposed to be in this alliance. And Paloma told Michael after he was nominated that this was part of her plan. I don't know. I don't even know what that means, what Paloma's saying, that's part of her plan, that Michael's on the block. Even though Michael's supposed to be in this alliance. Maybe she thinks this hides the alliance, even though she just put Michael in this alliance about fucking 6 to 7 hours before I recorded this video. But anyway, I hope this lights a fire under Michael's ass and he starts figuring things out. I don't know if they're really outsiders yet because the game is still wide open, which I'm glad about. I mean, we have different alliances of 6, but I don't know how real they are yet. Things are still forming. I think, and I like that there's a lot more possibilities for maneuvering right now for a lot of these folks, and I hope it stays that way.